Hello, Abstract. Hey, welcome, welcome. Welcome today. We are going to discuss why William Ruto will strengthen his presidential power after the Sabasaba protests. Uh, well, in this in-depth analysis on why President William Ruto is poised to consolidate and strengthen his presidential power following the Sabasaba protests in Kenya. In the next few minutes, we'll break down the political context, the impact of the protests, and Ruto's strategies and likely outcome for Kenya's democracy. Now, let's delve into the background and significance of the Sabasaba protests. Well, Sabasaba, meaning 7-7 in Kiswahili, refers to July 7th, a date etched in Kenya's history for the 1990 pro-democracy protests that led to multi-party democracy. In 2025, Sabasaba protests have been revived, driven by youth anger over economic hardship, police brutality, and government corruption. Let's check the recent events. In July 2025, Nairobi was locked down, roads blocked, and heavy police presence deployed to prevent mass protests. But the protest began within outside Nairobi in places like Kiambu, Kitengela, and Ngong. The protests were marked by violence, property destruction, and a strong government response. Ruto's political challenges, well, unpopularity and opposition. Ruto was elected in 2022, has faced increasing unpopularity due to aggressive tax measures and perceived betrayal of his campaign promises to the working class. The opposition, especially the youth-led movements, have called for his resignation with slogans like one term, meaning one term for his presidency. Well, Ruto's handling of dissent has really raised eyebrows. The government has responded with force, including shoot on sight orders for violent protesters and mass arrests. Key opposition leaders and activists have been targeted, and some have been arrested or intimidated. So, what are Ruto's strategies to consolidate his power after these Sabasaba protests? 1. Control of security apparatus. Yes, the control of the security apparatus. As we all know, the president has the country's security under his fingers. So Ruto has demonstrated a firm grip on the police and security agencies, using them to suppress protests and restrict movement in and out of Nairobi. The heavy-handed approach, including roadblocks and preemptive shutdowns, signals a willingness to use state power to maintain order and deter dissent. He can also use the legislative maneuvers. This is true. Ruto's influence in parliament is strong. He has outmaneuvered rivals, including his former deputy, and ensured that his allies dominate key positions. Recent efforts to pass laws that restrict spontaneous protests and criminalize certain forms of assembly further entrench his authority. Co-opting and neutralizing his rivals. This is 3. Ruto has co-opted opposition figures, including the likes of Raila Odinga, and drawing them into his government or neutralizing them as political threats. The impeachment of his deputy president, Rigathi Gachagua, demonstrates his ability to eliminate internal dissent. Number 4, messaging and public relations. Well, Ruto has framed the protests as threats to national unity instability, shifting blame to protesters for violence and unrest. He appeals to patriotism, urging Kenyans not to burn their country and positioning himself as the guardian of national order. Well, what are the impact of Sabasaba on Ruto's power? Well, let's see the short-term effects. Well, the short-term effects, the protests, while signaling deep dissatisfaction, have also provided Ruto with justification to tighten security and restrict civil liberties. The swift arrest of police officers involved in high-profile killings may be used to project an image of accountability even as broader repression continues. The long-term implications. By weathering the protests without conceding major ground, Ruto demonstrates resilience and control, deterring future mass mobilizations. The government's ability to maintain order despite widespread anger may embolden Ruto to pursue further centralization of power. So, what are the risks and countercurrents in all this? The potential backlash. Continued use of force risks fueling more resentment and radicalizing opposition, especially among the youth. International scrutiny and domestic advocacy groups have condemned police brutality and the shrinking of space for dissent. Institutional checks. While Ruto's grip is strong, the judiciary and civil society remain potential sources of resistance. Calls for police restraint and legal challenges to restrictive laws continues, though their effectiveness is uncertain. So, what are we going to watch next? The key developments. Watch for further legislative changes targeting protests and civil liberties. Monitor the government's handling of future dissent and the role of security forces. Pay attention to shifts in opposition strategy and potential new alliances. Well, I will conclude with that President William Ruto's response to the Sabasaba protest demonstrates clear strategy to consolidate power through control of security forces, legislative action, and political maneuvering. While this may bring short-term stability, it poses significant risks for Kenya's democracy and civic freedoms. The coming months will reveal whether Ruto's strengthened grip will hold or provoke new waves of resistance. If you found this analysis insightful, subscribe to the channel for more in-depth political commentary. Share your thoughts in the comments. Do you think Ruto's consolidation of power will bring stability or further unrest to Kenya? Thank you for watching. Stay informed and stay engaged.